This is the Nearly Enlightened podcast, a podcast for individuals wanting to connect to their body, mind, and spirit. I am joined again by my friend Katie Tougas, Katie Marshall. I know you.
It's okay. Either one. Tougas.
Married name, last name,
Marshall.
maiden name. Welcome back. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
So a little background. I wanted to have Katie come back on. I think it is a great time to talk about nutrition, talk about dieting, and talk about a specific thing that happened to me right before Thanksgiving. And as we go into like this next couple of weeks, I feel like this is when we start talking about like diet culture a lot and like New Year's resolutions. A lot of people have weight loss goals. And so I think it's important time to have this conversation. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you feel similarly.
I totally agree. I think that during the holidays, or I can't think of a time where it's not pushed in like exercise classes. And I know we talked about that before, but maybe like the one time it's not pushed is from like August to October.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just in a class, a fitness class, and it was like, I think it was like actually the day before Thanksgiving. And the teacher was like, hold this plank so you can earn your pie. And it literally, like, talk about trigger, like it just sent me into an all-out rage where like I actually posted something on my story like right after that, because like I just like the fitness community needs to do away with that phrasing. Like, can we just make that a thing right now that we like don't fucking do that? Because like it's so triggering. Because like, first of all, like for me, I feel we don't necessarily need to move our bodies to lose weight. Like that's maybe like a happy side effect if that's what you need. I mean, some people literally work out to gain weight. So like we're not all in the same boat when we're in the front of that classroom teaching fitness class, yoga class, whatever it is. And as someone who is, I would describe myself as a injury prevention, injury maintenance teacher. That's where it doesn't matter if you're coming to my yoga class, my aerial class, like that is the kind of scope that I take. So I think that putting those beliefs on other people are kind of injurious. And for me, it was just like, we move our bodies because it feels good, because it's healthy to move our joints, to get our blood flowing, like not because I want to have some pie. Like if I want to have some pie, I'm going to eat the fucking pie.
Right. And I think it's interesting to like go back a little. When you first started talking about it, I thought about it, and I have never actually thought about it this way before. So I grew up swimming. Like I swam my whole entire life. I swam throughout college. I swam basically up until COVID. I was just swimming by myself and I was bored of it. So I had stopped a few months before, and then COVID hit and pools were closed and whatnot. So I swam competitively for a long time up until my fifth year. I was a 5-year master's program. So up and through my fifth year of college. And I will say, looking through, swimming is wonderful, like in general, but I think looking at that lens, and I could have just been really lucky where I swam throughout my life. I didn't see much of it in there. But then when you go to the gym and you go to different fitness classes, and again, it could just be the sport. I mean, I swam co-ed up until college. My college didn't have a guys team, so that could have played in part too. But then once you join like a gym and you do fitness classes, it's in your face all of the time. And I know we were talking about, so I that just is very interesting to me because I've never thought about that before. And it's like, we were competitive athletes and it was never brought up in that place for me, at least. Again, I could have just been lucky as to where I was. So I don't know if it angers me even more for after the fact, because it's like, I grew up as an athlete and I just like to work out. I don't promote it to be a stress reliever, but for me, like it helps with my stress, and it's something I enjoy doing. People kind of like make fun of me because I enjoy doing like anything with it to an extent. And sometimes I probably do a little too much of it. so like I enjoy doing it. It's not something I'm doing so I can have an extra cookie. So it's interesting to think about it that way. And I've noticed a lot more since I've gone on my own health journey. And it's like if I go to a certain class and come the holiday season starting or come the summer starting, like come February, spring is coming, summer's coming. You got to get yourself ready for spring
That
break.
beach
Those
bod.
bathing
Yep.
suits.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And it's like, and it's so ridiculous. And Christmas morning or like Christmas Eve morning or Thanksgiving morning, like sometimes I'll go for a run. I'm not going to lie, but like I enjoy doing that. That's like my time off from my job. It's something I'm going to do. And I think a lot of our society doesn't think that. And they think that going for a workout, okay, I can have that extra piece of pie. And I know we talked about this before. I teach yoga as well. And I taught this week and we have a common, my teacher, you know, her style of teaching, and the person that taught me teaching was very anatomically based. So she gave us something to think about with every pose. And if you're in low malasana, she used to say it's taking your casseroles out of the oven. So I mentioned this week in class, I was like, oh, it's for getting your cookie trays ready out of the oven. And they kind of looked at me like, you're mentioning cookies in a yoga class. I'm like, yeah, I ate a butterball on the way here. I had a cookie swap this weekend. And they're like, you ate a cookie on the way to yoga? So it's just interesting that people put that mentality with it. And it's like, but I went to yoga to enjoy yoga, not because I ate a cookie to go to yoga. So it's interesting and it really aggravates me. And I think it's because I come from a place where I truly enjoy exercise and movement. And if you're doing it for other reasons, I think you need to find a way to enjoy it before you're doing it.
Yes, because it's not a punishment or a reward for like what you're eating or not eating.
Yeah.
And I think that that is really what is most triggering for me is because like we move our bodies because it's good for our bodies, it's good for our mind, not because we're like earning a special treat. Like that's
No.
weird to me.
Mhm. Like it's like there's so many benefits of it. And I know people hate on walking, and I'm still like a person that I come from a very like, as a 200 butterflyer, like I come from a very rigorous background, I guess, and I like intense things. So walking, I do walk now. I do. But it's still sometimes one of those things mentally that it's like, oh, I only went for a walk today. But like you can still go out and enjoy yourself and have whatever you want. It has so many benefits. It helps your lymph system, it helps your toxins move throughout your body, it helps your like your mind, your mentality, it helps your nervous system, like especially movement is key if you are trying to help regulate your nervous system. Like I know that's out of this, but like if you're doing too much and you're stressed out, okay, going to that HIIT class is going to cause more problems than going to a yoga class.
I am so glad you brought that up. I am so glad you brought that up because if we are somebody who has high cortisol levels, the stress hormone, like, and we're going to a HIIT class, we're increasing those stress hormones. And chances are you're not going to lose weight, but you're actually going to probably gain weight. And it's going to be fat around, especially for women around the midsection, which is what we're trying to avoid by maybe going to that HIIT class. So
Right.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up because so many of us live with chronic high cortisol levels and like maybe the HIIT class isn't the best option. If you enjoy intense workouts, that's like a whole other discussion.
Right. And like, well, and to go with that, you had said something before we started about most people going to work out to lose weight. And a lot of times they don't. And that's related to like cortisol levels. And I can say personally, and again, like if you listen to the other podcast, I have like a whole nice health history. So I'm like one in like, I'm a little asterisk person. I'm a little special one. But like I had to do a lot of central nervous system work over the past couple of years. And I actually took like a good 2 weeks off from doing anything other than like super gentle yoga and walking around my neighborhood. And all my pants that were too tight, man, those pants fit after that 2 weeks. And I didn't touch a weight. I didn't go for a run. I didn't go to the gym. I wasn't doing much. I was still eating the same amount. I didn't eat less because I wasn't working out. I was still eating the same amount, maybe even more. Who knows? I don't pay attention to that stuff. And my clothes fit me better. Like when I went to Portugal for 2 weeks way back and didn't do any exercise. Maybe we went for like a mile or two run just to see more scenic stuff. But I didn't do any exercise and my clothes fit me better when I got home from Portugal than I was when I was working out intensely. So it's like people, I think, need to understand. And again, like I'm coming from a stress background, so that plays a role in it. It's not going to be everybody. That's what works. It's based off of your person, like your whole body, but it's interesting because not everybody is going to lose weight working out more.
Yes.
You might be inflamed more because are you recovering correctly? Are you fueling yourself properly? Are you hydrating? Like, are you replenishing what you lost? So there's a lot to go into it.
Yeah. So bringing in your nutritional therapy background, like for someone who maybe has body image issues and they're hearing these things in yoga classes, like how would you help them kind of like override that message?
So I think it's people really need to take into consideration and like start to understand that everybody is their own person, and what works for the person next to you on your yoga mat or wherever you are on your spin bike, in the gym, walking down the street, like isn't going to work for you. Everybody's different. This is going on another tangent and I'm answering the question,
No,
but
go.
people
This
on
is the
social
place for
media,
it.
well, like people on social media post those what I eat in a days. Like that has nothing to do with you. Like what you eat shouldn't be the exact same thing as what somebody else eats, because you're not doing the same exact thing as that person every day. So to kind of like really think and start to believe that statement that like, okay, what works for somebody isn't going to work for me. And I'm coming to this yoga class, whatever class, to honor my body, to make myself feel good, to take time for myself. I've been talking to a lot of clients and just friends, and everybody seems like stressed out to the max right now. I don't know what it is, but everybody is like super stressed. Okay, so maybe they're taking the hour to go to that yoga class just to get out of their house, get out of their job, whatever they're doing, and to relax. It has nothing to do with the nutrition aspect. So kind of thinking about what brought you to that class to begin with. And maybe if it is to lose weight, to maybe do some thinking deep about how we could kind of change that mindset and
I
how
would love
to
to see.
support your body rather than,
Yes.
I don't want to say punish
Punish.
your body, but I guess that's really what
It
it
kind of is.
is.
It like kind
Yeah.
of is. And like, you know, so like even bringing it back to the example that I experienced is like holding that plank for like an extra minute. Like again, coming back to injurious, like maybe that's that person's limit. And now they feel pressured to like stay in that pose or stay in that exercise because you have to earn that pie or those Christmas cookies or like insert whatever food.
Right.
It's like now, like, it's just kind of a toxic cycle. And it's funny because, like, I actually, so fast forward to the day of Thanksgiving, I went to my yoga teacher's class, and he is someone who I super respect. And like, this is nothing on him, but he said the same thing. He was like, you know, do it to earn your turkey. And I was like, motherfucker, like,
I think people don't even
no.
realize it anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's like,
I think it's just one of those common statements that's been said, because I hear it everywhere I go, like everywhere. And I know like some of the people I hear it from don't mean it that way
yeah.
or like in that context.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's just one of those things that's become so normal to say that people say it and don't really think about the context or how people could be taking it.
Yes, absolutely. And something that I told my class after that week was like, you will never hear that come out of my mouth.
Mm.
And like, I want you to be mindful when it does come up in other people's classes. Like, you never know who, as a teacher, you never know who's coming to your class. And like, body dysmorphia is a thing that impacts so many people. And I think, especially in like the health and fitness sphere, like we see a lot of it. I do personally, especially like here in Phoenix, it's like a very hard workout kind of place. Like
Okay.
people really go to the max, like a
Yeah.
lot of triathletes here, like very ultra marathon runners, like very extreme sports. So to me, it's just like we can move our bodies. I kind of forgot where I was going on this tangent, but we can move
Happens
our
to me all the
bodies
time.
to just feel good. Like I don't necessarily work out or take yoga or anything because of the way I'm eating. And I think it goes back to the first podcast with you, is like, if you're eating whole foods,
Mhm.
not a lot of processed foods, like those little treats here and there are not going to
No,
sway the scale or like
no,
really have that crazy effect.
right. I think, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
I think it's just like people hear sometimes, and like I post all my baked goods on my Instagram, like my nutritional therapy Instagram. Like I'm alive, I'm standing, I'm healthy. I started out with a lot of this from having a baking blog, nothing fancy, but it was just like a stress reliever from me. It's like I eat, my meals are very nutrient dense, very whole food based, so I can enjoy those cookies and those whatever ice cream. And I think that they've been shunned. So is that the word I want? Yeah, shunned. Sorry, it's been a long week. Elementary school in December, man. um, they've been shunned so much in it. I think the wellness world of Instagram or whatever social media you're on is also very influential on like slamming anything processed or anything not good for you. And I think that there's like both ends of the spectrum where it's like, okay, I only eat whole foods and the best form nutrient availability, or I only eat fully processed food. There's not many people that come up that it's showing like the middle ground of it, or
Yeah.
like, as long as you have this foundation, you can enjoy these things and you won't totally mess up your whole body system. Because it's like, if you have these foundations and you go and have a cookie, if you go out and have a drink, I'm not promoting alcohol, but if you go out and have dessert, you're not going to totally mess up your system because you have that balance. Now, am I going to say go do it for every single meal, every single day? No, because our food is just grown differently. Our food is processed differently. It's not what it was like when we grew up as kids, or even like 10 years ago. I feel like I've been going to the store recently, even for dog food, like everything is filled with all the oils, all the
Yes.
foods that you can't look at the names, like to find bag of pretzels and chips for a cookie swap that didn't have sunflower oil in it or canola oil, man, it's really hard. So I think people need to understand, like, if you have those foundations, the rest will come and you can enjoy those things. Like you working out one extra workout or holding a plank for one extra minute. Like if we really think about that in reality, like, okay, what are you going to hold? Like one plank, one extra minute per plank per cookie? Because like, if we really do the math, which I'm not a mathematical person, I guarantee you that 1 minute of extra plank does not equal one Christmas cookie. Hate to break
Yeah.
anybody's heart on that one, but like, you're probably going to have to hold your plank for more than one extra minute if we really want to think about that, like scientifically.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the mentality that it's creating is just like, to me, it's just like, it just goes into that toxic diet culture of like, everyone needs to look a certain way. Everyone needs to eat a certain way. And like, I just don't buy into that. And I've experienced a lot of it going from being plant-based to incorporating meat back into my diet. I have gotten so much shit. And people from the plant-based community being like, oh, well, you can supplement your way out of that. It's like,
But no, you can't. I did a post on that recently. Well, probably not recently. I've been a little MIA on Instagram right now. But I did a post, and it's like supplements have a time and a place. But I was just explaining this to a client that I'm in the belief that like when you start working with me, that we need to find what your baseline is with whole foods first for a couple of months, or not a couple months, a couple of weeks and like a month. And once we get you eating like a whole foods based, I hate using the word diet for it, but like what you eat is your diet. So like a whole foods based diet. And then we find out what your true baseline is. And then if something needs support, like then we supplement from there. Cause I'm on a few supplements. I'm also on a gut protocol right now. So like, yes, I need to be on those supplements to do the gut protocol. Like I can't do it myself. But I think like for new clients, we need to have you eating those whole foods and then finding that baseline of, okay, what extra support does your body need for the time being that eventually your body might not need. But again, like it goes back to the conversation of our soil is not the same as it used to be. Our food is not grown as it used to be. But like, are you getting those nutrients from the whole food form first, rather than just like, okay, I'm a vegetarian, so I'm not getting this vitamin or mineral, so okay, I'm going to supplement it. But there's a chance for you to get it in whole food, so why are you going to choose not to get it in the whole food form first? Because then eventually, if you're taking the supplement version of it and the whole food form of it, like then you have the synthetic form and the real form of it, and like which form is going to win out? Like, would you rather have the real food or the whole food form win, or would you rather have the synthetic vitamins taking over? So I think that's like a whole
Different
other
topic.
topic. But I think like I have a lot of clients like to come on this topic. I have a lot of clients that say like when you come in with me, you have initial interview form and it has your top 3 health concerns and top 3 health goals. And a lot of them are to lose weight. And that's not like one specific person. Everybody's I've worked with has said that. And I don't think people realize, and I think it's a toxic diet culture that, okay, but yes, you might need to lose weight. I don't know. I'm not speaking to like anybody personally, but like you might need to lose weight for your body to be in homeostasis, but like you might not need to. Like you might just need to eat the whole foods and you might stay at the weight you're at. And that's fine because that's where your body functions optimally. Like I can tell you when I got sick, I was a lot smaller than I am now. And like I'm a fine size, like, but I was very small. My body was not functioning optimally, near optimally. Like it wasn't half functioning. So like, yeah, you can lose weight, but is your body still getting all the nutrients and the vitamins and functioning optimally? Because like you can see people and they might look healthy, but they might not be healthy on the inside. Like everybody's healthy is a different size, and I don't think people know
Yes.
that. Like you could be super thin and super slender and working great, like everything, like you're getting what you need and that's just your like genetic makeup type of thing and your body is working great, but like for the person next to them, like they could be wanting to be that size and their body's not wanting them to be that size. Like it, you need to eat the food to get the vitamins and the minerals, and you need to eat the foods that we have in its whole food form to get them. Like eating processed, non-fat, I don't know, anything like with
Yeah.
everything you get from it isn't going to give your body any nourishment. And I think we've lost the connection to food is nourishment, mentally and physically. Because like maybe those Christmas cookies you make are your grandma's recipe or something, or maybe that pumpkin pie is your aunt's recipe or something like that. And you want to go enjoy a piece of pumpkin pie without thinking, oh, I need to do another plank tonight.
Yes. And it's more of, I think for most people, it's more about the relationship in how we think about food than it is that the consumption of food is the problem.
Right. And I think that like with that, it's like people look at those foods. And I'm not saying to look at it all like this, because then you could turn around and be like, okay, well, I could enjoy this processed thing and it still has fat, protein, and carbs. But like, if you look at like your Thanksgiving plate, for example, like, okay, is all of it the best food? Probably not. But like, as long as you're filling it with protein, fat, and carbs and enjoying it, like you're still having somewhat of a balanced meal. Like have that meal. And then the next day go back to having your like whole foods based diet full of protein, fats, and carbs. Like, because either way, you still need the protein, the fats, and the carbs to have a balanced meal. So like if you get them in a different form that day, fine. If you have a little extra carbs, guess what? Carbohydrates are your body's main source of fuel, which a lot of people don't understand that. Like your body runs off of carbs. Like I am a person that's super stressed out a lot and I also work out a lot. Like my body loves carbs. I can eat like double the amount of carbs my husband does. And I'm like, oh, I want more carbs. And I'm fine with it. But like, that's how I know my body works. Like, but I'm also making sure it's balanced with protein and with fats. Like you need all of them to support your body or nourish it.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is like food is fuel for the body. So like you want to fuel the body properly. if you had a diesel truck, you wouldn't be putting in regular gas. Like,
no. And I don't think people get that. Like it all has its place and it's all needed. And like, honestly, if we're going to go back to the workout comments,
yeah, bring it back.
well, but it's like, if you're going to go back to the workout comments, like really that extra piece of pie, this is like really stretching it. Okay. You also need to understand I teach little kids. So like I can figure out how to like really convince people of things like that piece of pie could be like your extra fuel for your workout. I'm not saying like, do not hold me to saying like this person said eat a piece of pie for your workout.
It's pre-workout.
Like, right? Like, but really, if you're working out, like you need to make sure you're consuming enough for that exercise. So like saying to eat less or eat less to exercise or exercise more to be able to eat that stuff is really not helping your body or supporting your body at all. Because I find a lot of people don't eat before they work out, which that's a whole another topic and subject. And
yeah,
like,
you actually changed my mind on fasting a lot, and I've been integrating breakfast more. You'll be happy to hear.
but I'm glad.
It actually does make a huge difference. Like it, I don't find myself like starving by lunchtime, like where I'm like in deplete mode. And I have noticed, like, I haven't tested my blood sugar. I would be really curious to do that, but just basing it off of how I feel, I definitely feel like there is more stable energy throughout the day. And like, isn't that the goal?
Yeah. And it's like amazing, just those little changes. Like I've had a few clients that did not eat before they worked out. And I think it's more like a preference thing. I don't think it was like I like by somebody saying it or whatever. And they eat just like a little energy ball or something before they work out. And they're like, man, my workout was so much better. So it's like all these people going to work out on empty stomachs. And again, this could just be me liking food and liking food before I work out. But like I have also done it where like sometimes I forget to eat before, or if I was used to travel to the gym, I'd throw a banana in the car or something, or sometimes I'd forget it. And it's like I could tell the difference between the days I ate and the days I didn't eat before. It's like if you're really going to work out to like better your body or whatnot, or like gain muscle, like muscle needs protein and carbs to grow. Like it needs all of that stuff. So really you're not doing yourself any good by not eating before you go. And again, it's dependent on the workout. It's dependent on the duration of the workout and whatever you're doing. But like if you go, say you get up at like 7 o'clock, you go work out, your workout class is at 8 o'clock, say it's whatever class, a yoga class, 8 to 9:30 or whatever, any type of class, like a higher intensity workout, you're not home until 10:30. And if you're just eating at 10:30, and let's be honest, most people don't eat right away after they work out either. So like, let's push it till lunchtime. Like that is a lot on your blood sugar. Like regardless if it's a, like a relaxing vinyasa, but like a slower flow vinyasa class, like that's still a lot on your blood sugar. Like you've been sleeping all night. That's your rest and digest and your rebuild. So then you get up in the morning and you need to fuel yourself with something within like a half hour of when you wake up, or your blood sugar is going to continue to rise. And then imagine if you're not, and then you're going to, which I think it would be more okay going to like a slower yoga class, but then imagine going to like a HIIT class or going for a run, like your blood sugar is going up with that and then coming down.
And so is
and
your
muscles,
cortisol level. So if
yep,
you're
and
a
your cortisol,
stressed out person and you're working out to release that stress, you're actually creating more stress on your body.
Yep. And then when you finish, and regardless, like I'm not saying yoga is an easy thing, because it's not. Like you're still using all your muscles. Like you're coming home and your muscles are fatigued, depending what you're doing. Like yoga, you're building muscle, your muscles are fatigued. Like you're lifting, you're breaking down muscle and building muscle. Like your body needs that fuel to rebuild it. And if you're not getting that in after too, then like your cortisol is going to be, you're on a blood sugar roller coaster all day long. And like, fine, you could feel good when you eat that food, but you set yourself up for a roller coaster all day long, because you can eat that food and feel good for like a couple hours, but then your blood sugar is just going to crash again right away. And you're going to keep having those blood sugar spikes. Like it's okay if we have some blood sugar spikes during the day, like it's natural, like it happens, but like you want to try and keep it as steady as possible. And by doing things that you know are going to cause stress on your body is just going to cause more stress with your blood sugar.
So what would you say to someone who struggles with nutrition, working out,
Mhm.
body image during this time of year when it's the talks around diet, food, and like now up, January is a couple of weeks away. So we start to hear like
Gotta
the
get the
new
new
year.
body.
Yeah, new year, new resolution. Summer's only 5 months away, all that BS. Like, what would you say to a client that's showing up like that and is having these issues, and like the world is like bombarded by these hold that plank to have that pie?
Right. I think for them, I would have them, like, if it really is truly like an eating disorder thing, like work with somebody that's their specialty. And then with me, I would work on finding balanced meals for them, balanced snacks, because I don't think snacking is evil. I know people have their opinions on that. Personally, I don't think it's evil. And again, it's bio individual. So like maybe for you, it's not the right thing, but like I'd have to figure that out with you. Finding foods that they enjoy that make them feel good and nourish their bodies. And then if they hear that, or first, before they even do that, like find exercise, movement, whatever you want to call it, that you truly enjoy, that you're going because you enjoy, not because you feel like you have to go do it. Like find something, and that might take a little bit to do, like try different things, try something you've never done before. If you're kind of stuck with your exercise, if you're stuck in a rut with it, like find something that you enjoy, because then it'll be easier to tune it out. And then just think like your food is your fuel for that class, no matter what class it is, no matter if it's you're going for a walk, if you're going to a gentle yoga class, if you're going to a power yoga class, if you're going to aerial, whatever you're doing, like just remind yourself that your food is your fuel for that. And like, even if it's like something that you're considering bad, even though we need to go to the bad and good conversation too, like it could be good for your mind. Okay. Like it's there to help you fuel, and it's there to help you move along. That just try as hard as you can to realize that that is something in our society that's just being pushed, and maybe that person saying it might have to do some thinking about that too.
Yeah.
It might be their beliefs on it, and they might be convincing themselves that that's the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Like take it with a grain of salt, because
Mhm.
like I think we all have when it comes to body image and just like health, wellness, like everyone's coming with this pre-programmed stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like weeding through that to find the actual thing that works for the individual. Cause like you said, like bodies are so individual. So to like have these cookie cutter diets and be like, this is gonna work for everyone, like
It's not. No.
there's no such thing. Like, no. And that's why fad diets fail. Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
might see some changes in the beginning, but like it's not sustainable in the long term. And like I think that finding whole foods and having, for me, like an 80-20 rule works awesome. Like I eat healthy 80% of the time. 20% of the time, I'm going to treat myself
Right.
and I'm not going
I'm
to
with
feel
you.
guilty about it. And you know, like we talked about this last time, I
Yeah.
have ice cream every night too.
Yeah.
Like,
And like you can be creative. I was just talking to somebody about this. I think I'm not a huge pasta person, just because swimming growing up, like we had pasta all of the time, like all of the time. But my husband loves pasta, so I've been trying to cook it more. And we made a lasagna soup a couple weeks ago, and somebody, I actually a few people, like you could kind of tell their face when I said we were having lasagna soup, like for a good amount of the week. I'm like, but I cut the amount of pasta in half and I doubled the protein. So like, yes, there's carbs in it because there was pasta, but like I added the protein in there. So like it's still nourishing for your body. You're still enjoying the pasta that you want. And again, I'm not saying pasta is a bad thing. I had it way too much growing up. So it's one of those things. But like
it's
I'm
so
having,
crazy because I'm Italian. So this is
yeah.
going to be shocking, but I'm also not a pasta person. Like
Like,
when it comes to carbs, like I would rather have potatoes all day
Yeah.
long.
Like I give me the French fries. Like we
Yeah.
made fries last night. Like I'm right there with you. So like but we doubled the protein. So like that protein is going to help balance out those carbs. So yes, I can enjoy it. And the protein is going to help uh fill me up too. So it's like, okay, yes, there's carbs in here, but your body needs carbs. So like you're going to get them either way. So like might as well have it in a way you enjoy it, and like find a pasta that's not completely processed. Like it can be done. You just have to do a little searching. And I can help you do that searching, but it can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like, I spend far too much time at the grocery store, especially since we've cut out like seed, vegetable oils, any of the shit oils. We've like
So
pretty
hard.
much completely cut them out of our diet.
No, good for
Um,
you.
and finding things that they're not in is so hard, so hard. And if you're eating out, like chances are you're
It's
eating out, you're
impossible.
eating vegetable oil. It's like
Yeah.
impossible. Yeah.
And it's like not to go on the dog track, but like, man, even in dog food, I looked at dog food last night.
Yeah.
Flour oil is the second ingredient.
That's crazy.
And
Even
I'm like, in what world would dogs ever be finding sunflower oil outside? Like, what world?
and not to bash Trader Joe's, but I actually stopped shopping there because like anything that's in a bag there
Has
or
it?
like in packaging, there's canola oil in there.
Yeah.
And I finally had to be like, okay, I'm just spending way too much time here weeding out of things. Like this just, it doesn't work for me anymore. Like literally even some of the cheese, I was like, why are we
You can
putting
find
this in
some things like,
cheese?
yeah, I know. We've been very picky as to what we get there now, but we still go, and some of it's for like fresh, well, fruits and stuff and flowers and chocolate. But there are some
Yeah.
stuff that we found that still don't have it added in. But I'm right there with you. Like a lot of stuff there, like I look at the packages now there because a lot of it has canola oil and vegetable oil. And I don't think people understand the process of it. It's heated at such a high temperature that it just makes it go rancid. And that's not good for your body. And I think, again, like we grew up on vegetable oil. I know,
Yep.
like I
It's
remember my
heart
mom.
healthy.
Yeah. But again, like it was also different then too, I think. Like food processing was different. Not as different, I think, than our parents' generation. But yeah, it's interesting going to the grocery stores these days.
But if you go beyond our parents' generation, so I remember, so my great grandmother was alive until I was like 8 or 9.
Mm.
I was older, and she was the cook in the family, and she used lard or she used butter,
Yeah.
or I mean we're Italian, so she used olive
Right.
oil too. But there was no such thing as these processed oils, really. There
Yeah.
was no such thing. And there were no such thing as supplements then either, which
No.
I find so interesting. So it's like really over the last 50 to 75 years, we're seeing these things pop up, vegetable oils, seed oils. And now like there are so many, if you go to that section of the grocery store, there are so many different oils. It's like kind of
I
mind
never knew.
boggling.
Yeah. Like when we started like really looking at them, like I didn't know this was an oil.
Yeah, like walnut seed
Yeah. I
oil
didn't
and
know
like
that was one of them.
yeah, like all of these crazy,
Like
crazy
when you even
things. And
use this for cooking.
yeah, I don't know. It's very weird to me. And then to dig a little bit deeper to find out that most of it is cut with soy oils or canola oil. It's like, okay, this is just like you kind of have to weed through what is a money making, what's a business and what is really like there to support our health.
And there are plenty of companies and products in the stores that you can
Yep.
find that are clean, and you just have to search, and you have to be willing to invest in your health a little more than you would typically pay for. But I mean, it's your health and your longevity, and that like going back to the exercise, like you can sit on the couch all day, like great. But like in 20 years, is sitting on the couch all day going to be fantastic for your body? Like I'm not asking you to go out and run a marathon, but like go out and walk for like 15 minutes. Like your body needs to move, like to help your joints stay useful and active throughout your life. So it's like, okay, you can buy all the processed stuff and not waste the time looking through the products to find what is better, but then who knows how your body's going to deal with it down the line too. So it's
Yeah,
really
exactly.
like going back to the nutritional therapy, like creating that foundation for yourself and a sustainable approach rather than like a quick fix approach like the diets.
Yes. And I love that because if you are working on that, then all of these messages that come up during the holidays and like, we're out more, there's more social gatherings, especially like after being locked up for the
Yeah.
last 2.5 years. Like it's time for people to get out and to be in community. So like to beat ourselves up about like a couple of meals that we're sharing, likely with people we love, it's like, it's
Yeah.
kind of counterintuitive.
It is. And honestly, like if you set that foundation too, and I'm just speaking personally, so I don't know if most people feel like this, but I can also use observation from my husband. Like we had a cookie swap this weekend and we had a lot of cookies left over and we were eating a lot of cookies. But like come Wednesday, like we didn't want the cookies anymore. Like if you have that foundation set, like chances are you're not going to want them as much. Like, yes, we still eat dessert. We have chocolate. Like we either have chocolate or ice cream every night. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, but like we didn't want the cookies anymore. Like your body's going to tell you, no, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, I think, the most important thing people need to realize, that I think we're stuck with like that one or all mentality. Like I need to eat completely clean or I'm going to binge on all of this. Well, chances are if you're going to eat completely clean, your body's missing a lot of nutrients. So yes, it's going to binge on something because it's trying to find whatever you're not giving it. Or I need to just completely forget about eating all the nice stuff and just eat all of the junk stuff because I'm going to eat it anyways. But it's like your body's smart. Like we eat pretty well. But like our body was done eating the cookies. Like we're done.
Yeah.
And trust me, we had plenty of them, but like your body's going to tell you when you're ready. It's like if you go on vacation. I remember I did a study abroad in Ireland, and I don't know if it was the time of the year, but there were hardly any fruits and vegetables. And I love my fruits. Like I'm not going to tell you ever to eat a half a banana. And I
I'm a
came,
fruit person too.
yeah, all I wanted was fruits and vegetables because I was eating like all of like the hearty stews and like everything all week, and like potatoes and carrots were like it. I sound like I'm from like the back times, but I promise that's how it was. Like all I wanted was something fresh and green. Like your body's going to tell you what it wants, and like people need to start listening to it.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. I mean, that's how I came back to eating meat. It's like after literally almost a year during my cycle of like craving beef, I
Yeah,
finally gave in and now I haven't had a beef craving since
yeah,
then.
it's
It's like my
yeah.
body got what it needed.
Mhm.
And now it's like you said, finding that homeostasis. So now it's like back on that, like,
Yeah.
okay, we have what we need. And after our talk, it really made me sit back and take a deeper look. So I have been doing breakfast. I've been doing sourdough in the morning with
Hey.
an egg and cheese.
Oh, look at you. You're
I
fancy.
know.
Hey.
I dove right in and yeah, that actually like works really well for me. It's quick, it's simple,
Mhm.
and like it's a sandwich. So if you need to
Yeah.
take it on the go, like
Right.
not ideal, but it works.
It works. Yeah.
And then
Awesome. No.
like most of our meals are, it sounds so boring, but it's like white rice, a protein, and then we do most days we do a red cabbage, carrot,
Mhm.
cilantro salad.
Yep.
And like we'll make a big batch of it and then it just sits in the
Yeah.
fridge.
Yeah.
Um, but also like pulling other things in there to like make it interesting. But for the most part, like we eat the same thing all the time. And my dad's like, that is so boring. Like, don't you get sick of it? But I think when you find that thing that works for you
Yep.
and your body is being fueled and nourished properly,
Mhm.
you don't have those fluctuations. Like, I don't hardly ever have cravings anymore. Like, recently I have had like a hankering for fried chicken, but like that's
Oh.
not neither here nor there. Um, eventually I'm gonna give in and I'm gonna eat that. But
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
yeah, I'm not gonna hold my plank extra tonight, don't worry.
No.
Um um so yeah, like I don't find those like cravings that feel like they're gonna like take over my body anymore.
Yeah.
Like that I'm nourishing for what works for me right now. And I've been saying, I said this when I was vegetarian. I was like, this is what works for me right now until it doesn't work for me anymore.
Right.
Like we'll reassess. And like I feel the same right now. Like this is what's working for me really well right now.
Yeah.
And I feel great. I have high energy levels, like not getting sick, knock
Works,
on
yeah.
wood.
Yes. And honestly, like we do the same, like we meal prep. And the only thing I would say is make sure like you switch up your vegetables, like you get in the different vegetables. That's the one thing that is important because it gets the different nutrients in, and like switch up the protein. So like we try and do that every week, but I'm right there with you. Like what works, works. And if it works for you, it might not work for somebody else, but
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what you want is to feel balanced. You want energy levels. You don't want the energy dips. Like I noticed after one of the meals, like I got super tired after lunch and I was like, oh, my blood sugar is really wonky, but I had a digestive thing going on anyways. So it's like you start to notice those connections, like, yeah, you're supposed to not supposed to get tired in the afternoon. I get like, especially if you've been up all day, but like it's not.
I mean, that's why all European countries have siesta. Like it's
Yeah,
more of a societal thing than
right.
anything. Like
Well, and
humans
it's
do
like
kind of need that rest.
it's common but not normal to get tired after your meals. Like just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. A lot of times if you're feeling super high energy and then you notice like an hour after lunch that you're super crashed, well, chances are you need to look at the meal you ate because either something's not agreeing with you or it wasn't balanced.
Yeah.
So like that goes along. Like if you're feeling those energy levels, that's great. Like, and that's
How-
the ideal. Like you want to feel good. You want to have steady energy throughout the day.
Do you suggest clients do like food sensitivity tests?
I can't really say I've done enough into that yet that
Okay.
I would. I think it depends on what it's for and the reasoning behind it. I think that some people do them to support eliminating things. And I think if it's for a valid reason, yes. But if it's just for a reason to prove to themselves they can take something out because they don't want to eat it, I think that's a different reason. I think if you have a valid health concern related to it, then it's something to consider. But I think if it's just doing it to prove a reason as to why you want to take something out, I think that's not a valid reason.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think it goes back to like one, nutrition is bio individual. So like these
Mhm.
cookie cutter diets and like one size fits all diets, like no, like if
Right.
run the other way.
Mhm.
Um, and the other thing is like I think a big part of nutrition is actually really parallel to mental health and like
Mhm.
how we've been programmed with nutrition throughout the
Yes.
years.
Mhm. I mean, I think that if you're eating food in its whole food form and as least processed as possible, and I think people don't understand what processed is. So that doesn't mean like you taking it home and cooking it. Like, yes, that's processing it, but not like mechanically and like it looking nothing like it grew or it came from. Meaning processed like going to a plant and having everything done to it. I think that if you're doing that, then you'll be pretty good. And your body should be okay with most foods. But again, like everybody's different.
Yep.
And I haven't dug much into the food sensitivity test. I'm looking into that come the spring. But I
So
think
TBD on that. We'll put a pin
yeah,
in it.
TBD. So I don't want to say like yes or no to it, but I think that a lot of it you can test yourself too. Not, I don't know. I don't want to go too far into it because I haven't
Yeah,
done it that
yeah.
much. But I
No,
can
that's
say
fine.
like I was trying to figure something out with my gut, and again, this is just personal. And I took dairy out for uh, what was that? 4 weeks? I don't know. It was the longest weeks of my life because I love milk, I love ice cream, I love cheese. And you can tell, like, if on week 3, you can tell if it's something that is affecting your body or not. So I think that there's a lot to say about that too. Like if you, as long as you're doing it in a method that you're not removing everything at once. But again, I don't know enough about that. So
Yeah. I kind of, so it's interesting you say this because I had some gut issues in my mid 20s. And I think it had to do with when I was younger, I had chronic strep that was like undiagnosed. And I was
yeah.
just like basically living on antibiotics for like five formative years of my life until I was like almost 8 years old. So I think that that really showed up in my 20s, and I cut out a lot. I went straight paleo, like very strict, like basically just protein, few vegetables, like no nightshades, nothing like that. No grains, no sugar, no dairy. And I did feel better at the time, but looking back on it now, I think it was actually more of like a leaky gut issue than it was like a food sensitivity issue. And I
Right.
feel this is a nuanced topic, but I feel like in our society, we have sprayed the shit out of our crops with glyphosate. I think I'm saying that right.
I think so too.
Um, not an expert, but just from personal research. And other pesticides make, other things to make things grow, chemicals, which have given us leaky gut syndrome. And I feel like in a lot of cases for people, it's actually like an inflammation, leaky gut issue. And like when you heal that issue, the food sensitivities kind of like go away. Obviously, allergies and things like that are different. Like I've had a specific nut issue manifest in my older years. Like I can't eat walnuts anymore.
Interesting.
Every other nut is completely fine. Well, actually, that's not really true. Pecans, walnuts are like the two that I absolutely can't touch.
Okay. Like allergic reaction or?
Yeah, allergic reaction, like swollen lips, swollen tongue, like itch, like my mouth gets so itchy. And so
Interesting.
this is really funny. This also has to do with Christmas cookies. So my mom's friend makes like the most amazing thumbprint cookies with like the little Hershey Kiss, and then she rolls them in walnuts. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just have like one or two and like, it'll be fine. My mouth was on fire and like breaks out in like complete sores on the inside when I have walnuts and pecans. Walnuts more specifically than pecans, a little less of a reaction. So I'm not really sure what that's about these days, but yeah, can't have walnuts.
Interesting. Just
so
like
food, yeah. But so going back to what I experienced in my early 20s was dairy wasn't really working for me. Cut that out for a while, but once I healed the leaky gut syndrome, now I can have all the dairy I want and it doesn't bother me.
So much is tied back to the gut and people don't realize it. And people don't realize that like the gut really does rule a lot in your body.
What I'm learning right now is all oral health has to do with gut health. So that's like, so like, obviously it makes so much sense. They're like so connected.
It's so interesting. Like the few weeks ago, I had the gut issue and I have the spot on the back of my heel that flares up if my gut is out of whack. And man, it was like peeling and all disgusting. And I've been working on my gut. And I think it's just, I started this. So it's like the healing process. But it's interesting once you see everything together and once you see, your own reactions to things.
Yep, it's so true. Yeah. So tying this all back up, I want to thank you for coming on and just talking about this with me. Because I think it's, as the next couple of weeks start to roll around, like we're really gonna see that diet fad, like marketing. That's what it is. Like, let's be honest. Like, we're gonna see a lot of that marketing come at us in the next couple of weeks. And like, I just wanted to put something out there. Like, I love talking about unpopular opinions and hot takes, and this is certainly one of them.
Yeah. And I think just people need to realize like going into the next couple of weeks, and I think I had posted something like the week before Thanksgiving. I was like, you don't need to start a diet today. Like you don't, like you have the foundation, you have the building blocks for it if you're doing the work now. Like, and if you're not doing the work now, like fine, take the time and then start the work. You can start it and you can still enjoy your holiday season. Like just on that Monday of Christmas week or whatever holiday you celebrate, because everybody celebrates something different. Like you don't need to go on a diet just because it's the holiday season or just because you're going on vacation for the holidays, for winter break or for spring break. Like you don't need to go on a diet 2 weeks before you go on vacation just to enjoy vacation, because chances are you'll probably be miserable on that vacation because you're hangry the whole time. So it's
like maybe you get sick because you're not fueled properly. Like that's a huge thing to talk about in itself. like this time of year, we're around more people, more outings.
Mhm.
Most places it's colder. So it's just like, and stress levels are
Yeah.
higher during the holidays. So I just read a statistic that 38% of people report being more stressed out during the holidays.
Mhm.
Stress lowers your immune system. Not
Yep.
fueling your body properly lowers your immune
Yeah.
system. So you're like setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, you need the food and the vitamins and the nutrients. Like eating the stripped down food is not going to give you those nutrients. And just sitting there and eating the plate of cookies is not going to give them to you either. So it's like that balance, like find the balance, have a nutrient dense meal and then go enjoy the cookie and you're fine. Like your immune system will thank you, your body will thank you, and your hormones will thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
And so like
Oh, thank you so much for
just
coming
tune
on.
those people out when they say it during class. Like you are doing what you need to do because you enjoy it and because you're trying to strengthen your body and to support your body. And then you need to replenish those fuels.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to put out there for everyone because, like, we are going to hear it more. And, like, it's
Yes.
important to know that diet, nutrition is bio individual. Working out, moving your body, bio
Yep.
individual. Like,
Totally.
find what works for you.
Yep. And
So,
ignore those people and replenish yourself after you eat. I mean, after you work out. Sorry.
we're, it's an opportunity to meet people where they are.
Yes, it is. It is.
If people want to work with you, if they're having questions about nutrition, if they want to kind of dial in their nutrition and find what works for them, how can they work with you?
They can find my Instagram is kdt.ntp and my website is soshealthandwellness.com.
Thank you so much for coming
You're
on.
welcome.
This
I've
has been,
had a great time. We
yeah,
can
I
pick
love
those
having,
other topics to talk about next.
yeah, we'll just make this like a quarterly thing. You come
That's
on
fine
and
with
we'll talk
me.
about nutrition. I love it.
Fine with me.
Thank you all for listening and joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share. This is a message that truly does need to be shared this time of year. So if you know someone who could benefit from this message, please send it along. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.